how are we experiencing 2025 as farmers is very different than the market. It is finally a flip from the
it's a
market
seller's
side.
market, right? It's a seller's
How
market.
can we not be excited to see the level of pricing going up and that benchmark
100%.
finally going up? How can we not be clapping every time that price goes up? We're thinking there's hope. There's going to be a new horizon. The coffee is finally going to be lifted away from the $3 and below stuff. We're hoping we'll never see that, because all of that was destructing the farmers, and of course on the market side, I remember somebody saying it's a comfortable price, 275 in the C market is a comfortable price for whom? For whom? Okay, that was destroying the farmers, and then everybody's talking about sustainability. So from the farmer side, we are clapping all along because we never ever want to see prices even go below $4.
Initiating direct trade and making it work at a small or medium-sized scale is hard, especially ahead of harvest. Arkena Coffee Marketplace connects roasters directly with smallholder farmers in Ethiopia and builds in the hard parts: integrated QC, logistics support, and producer-led transparency. Ethiopia's harvest is underway and samples will be ready in February. We know we're early, but that's the point. With coffee supply as volatile as it has been in 2025, getting in now helps you understand timelines and can assist in planning your 2026 buying with confidence, even if you've never bought direct before. The minimum is around 20 bags, and Arkena can pull multiple roasters to meet the MOQ, so you can participate without overcommitting. If you're curious, listen to our recent conversation on the podcast with founder Matthew Thornton, then explore the marketplace via the link in our show notes. You can also book a meeting with Matthew and he'll walk you through requesting samples, the order process, pulled orders, QC, and shipping once coffees are ready. Supporting our advertisers is a great way to support our mission at Map It Forward to build responsible businesses with responsible pricing models. Check the show notes for details and explore Arkena Coffee Marketplace today. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 1 of a brand new 5-part series, a really important 5-part series. Anytime we have a coffee farmer on the podcast, it is an important series, especially in a year like 2025. Marianella Baez Jost from the Farmers Project and Café con Amor in Costa Rica, welcome back to the podcast for the second time. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Lee, and thank you for all that you do for our industry.
It's my pleasure. You're a loyal listener to the podcast, and it's important to me that as somebody who understands what we're trying to do here at Map It Forward, and as somebody who is a contributor by being a guest, and you are part of our monthly discussion groups, all of that, you're a part of the Map It Forward ecosystem. But more importantly, you're a coffee farmer. And in a year like 2025, we need to understand how all the different stakeholders in the supply chain are experiencing 2025. And, you're a coffee farmer in Costa Rica. We haven't had the perspective of a coffee farmer from Costa Rica yet. So I'm privileged to have you here. We're going to be talking about the coffee market volatility from the perspective of a coffee farmer, a smallholder farmer from Costa Rica. And in this episode, we're going to explore how you're experiencing 2025. But before we do that, I'd like you to introduce yourself and the Farmers Project, and then we're going to have a teeny tiny little chat about barista competitions. So can you remind everyone what your project is? Because it's awesome. The Farmers Project is awesome.
Yes. I'm Marianella, and I started in coffee over a decade ago by buying a farm in Costa Rica while knowing zero about coffee. It was a dream and an adventure that I did not realize was going to grab my heart and become my mission. I started with Café con Amor. My husband and I moved to Costa Rica and literally started by ripping the plants that were there. We were so ignorant. We bought a very depleted farm. So we had to replant and start from scratch. And with the dream of doing true direct trade. And the journey to direct trade was very difficult, very rewarding, very challenging, all of it. And it also brought us to create a network of good people, friends, other farmers that were value aligned. And we decided to create Farmers Project as a team approach to doing direct trade. And I'm very proud to say we are 9 years into exporting direct trade to almost 30 states in the United States and in Canada, to roasters that are the true backbone of their own communities, small roasters that care about a specialty coffee and maybe not the highest end of a specialty coffee, but real quality, real traceability, and real positive impact. So I love my job. I love my mission. And as complicated as coffee is, I also love that too, because we're in it to try to do better every day.
Would you say that you lean towards being optimistic or not when it comes to where coffee is going?
I'm a realist, but I tend to be more on the optimist side of realism because I'm very competitive, and I feel like um, as long as I'm alive and I can do what I do, I can make a positive impact. So I won't give up.
This week, so for context, there's a lot of important context about the date that we're recording this. It's October the 23rd, which is it's a Thursday right now. A couple of important things have happened this week. So for the sake of this conversation, the least important of those things is that we recorded a conversation on the podcast with George Howell and Tim Wenderbo, and that's coming out next week. It is available in the Patreon for anyone who would like to watch it now. It will be out on the Patreon already, so you can go and watch that, and it's excellent. It's everything you want it to be. You are watching George Howell and Tim Wendelbo fanboy over each other is the sweetest thing that you're ever going to see. I promise you. The next important thing that we will talk about is that the World Barista competition happened, and I'm keen to get an understanding from you, Marianella, what kind of, how does a producer see a circus like that? But the other thing that's important for us to talk about is the C market, as we speak, has hit 437. So that is an all-time record. And through this conversation, we're going to explore like what that means for farmers, what that means, because it's awesome. It's really fantastic that these high prices exist for farmers that are able to take advantage of them. Many farmers are not able to take advantage of it because there's a reason the price is going up, and it's not just speculators. There's not enough coffee, guys. And the lack of supply is what's driving this market up. But we'll explore that through this whole conversation. So let's start at the barista competition. Marianella, as a coffee farmer, when you see a world barista competition happen and you see all this money that goes into it and all this effort and all this time, I'd love to get your perspective as a farmer on how do you process that and what do you think about that?
The way I look at it is, first of all, I value baristas very much, and I always compare their position to the pickers at the farm, because the pickers are the first hands, and the baristas are the last ones.
That's a lovely way to think about it.
And not only that, in the coffee industry, when you look at salaries, in the commerce, in the market side, baristas are the ones that make the least, and in the farmer side, the pickers are the ones that make the least. So there's a lot of parallels I have always noticed. To create a show, any of the shows, the extravagant shows that are happening, I think they're actually responsible, because they're giving a notion that this is important to. And there are a lot of people that invest a lot of time, even fundraise for their own efforts to make it to a show. or even put their small coffee shop or small business in peril because they want to be a part of something they think they need to be a part of. And it's a show that is promoting the large company sales. It's really a marketing show. It's a front to make coffee a cool thing so people buy more equipment, the people buy more of their brands, the people think it's a trend and that they need to do more and more. And what they're doing is supporting these big, large corporations that are putting all the fancy products out there that at the end of the day are the ones that break the bank of the small businesses. So I think it's pretty responsible. It's fun, I'm sure, for them, but I don't think that you need to. I really actually think the baristas are they're being used to be what you call it, a circus. And I think it's not the right thing, and especially in the timing of all the other serious problems that we have, it's money not well spent.
I co-sign on everything you just said. It's, I look at a day like today, and Marianella and I had a conversation before the podcast started, and she, she had to sit there and hear me rant a little bit about how when I look at a price like 437 on the sea market, on one side of it, I'm very, very happy for farmers. On the other side of it, I can hear the sound of people realizing that their head just hit the floor and their business just went out of business, on the consuming end. And that kills me, that people didn't pay attention and they were happy to be distracted by these circuses that are there to distract them when we have serious, serious problems going on. And it breaks me, like it keeps me up at night. But that's just where we're at. And and so that's all a part of this thing that we're calling the coffee crisis in 2025, right? What are some of the other ways that you as a smallholder farmer are experiencing 2025 from a pricing perspective, all of the things, all of a supply, weather, all of the things? How are you experiencing 2025?
I have to be honest, Lee, when you said right before the podcast started, when you told me, what do you think about the price going where it's at? First of all, I don't keep the pulse as you do on the pricing, but my honest reaction, you can say it was yes. And I did not realize that was going to be opposite to what you're feeling, because you're also thinking of the small coffee roasters market side that is going to be challenged by not having enough cash flow to buy or enough funds to fund their business. But how are we experiencing 2025 as farmers is very different than the market. It is finally a flip from the
it's a
market
seller's
side.
market, right? It's a seller's
How
market.
can we not be excited to see the level of pricing going up and that benchmark
100%.
finally going up? How can we not be clapping every time that price goes up? We're thinking there's hope. There's going to be a new horizon. The coffee is finally going to be lifted away from the $3 and below stuff. We're hoping we'll never see that, because all of that was destructing the farmers, and of course on the market side, I remember somebody saying it's a comfortable price, $2.75 in the sea market is a comfortable price for whom? For whom? Okay, that was destroying the farmers, and then everybody's talking about sustainability. So from the farmer side, we are clapping all along because we never ever want to see prices even go below $4. Okay. But yes, I am sensitive to the fact that many people did not prepare to handle this.
Across the whole supply chain, right?
Correct.
There are farmers who don't have any coffee to sell and to take advantage
Exactly.
of these prices.
Exactly. Right? And there are a lot of moving pieces where if you are a small farmer that is still giving the coffee to a co-op, the co-ops are still compromised to fulfill contracts in the sea market that were future contracts for 2, 3, 5
Exactly.
years from the big six or the big five global companies. And guess what? I put a post on LinkedIn about the reality of selling to a co-op in Costa Rica when the price in February, when we're like in harvest, was hitting records. I don't give one of my beans to a co-op, and there are a lot of good co-ops. I'm not saying everybody's bad, but I have had a lot of really bad experiences. So when the price was at a record price in February, if you're a farmer in Costa Rica that is tied up to a co-op and have a certain percentage of the yield going to them, they were giving you an advance, okay? That advance was equivalent to $2, okay?
Wow.
And that was it. The rest is up to their discretion and the government a formula that is very hard to understand how they arrive. But at the end of the harvest, and usually 2 months later, they decide what's that final price and they give you an adjustment. And guess what? That adjustment is lagging from the reality of the market, of the sea market. So at the end of the day, people in Costa Rica didn't even make $250 if you gave it to the co-op when the market
your
was at
wages are
$440.
much higher than most of the rest of the region, right?
Yes, the advance was barely paying for the pickers because we're also dealing with less labor. The government in Costa Rica dictates that a cajuela, the measurement for a picker, is 1,125 colones. That's the equivalent of $2, just $2.05 or something like that, depends on the exchange rate. No way you can pay anybody that. Nobody's going to come to your farm. We're paying 3 times that sometimes. And so the advance that the co-ops were given could not even cover the labor. And so my point is there's a lot of lagging in the market, the real market dynamics and the hikes and prices to what the farmers are getting paid. So hopeful, because now if the prices have been since February have been up, now that when we go into harvest, we're hopeful that the lag is gonna still exist, but now they can't ignore that the coffee has averaged way over 325 for the whole year or something, right? But who knows? That world is a world that is no good as far as allowing farmers to make a dignified living. And that's why direct trade is the route, and direct trade is what I like to advance, to talk, to help people reach it. I have whoever calls me, whoever wants to enter the direct trade route, I'm always happy to say, yes, I can give you everything that I know could be helpful. And of course, it all depends on you, but I'm very, very happy to share information on how to try to achieve it. I don't have a book A to Z, but I can give you some pointers. So anyway, so that's how we're feeling. We're hopeful. We're also very confused. We're as farmers, and we're confused because nobody knows what all this geopolitical stuff is. When you're farming is a very lonely sport, you know. You're in your farm and you're in a small rural area, and you have a very small network in neighborhoods. You're not in suburbia. So you don't watch the news. You're not watching the news like people watch the news. And when you hear about all the problems of the world, they seem so far away, but yet tariffs are landing into the equation of if you can sell the coffee or not. So as far as direct trade, tariffs are something that is really affecting us, because if we have been able to achieve direct trade, can we sustain the cost of it? Because yes, we are all passing it along to the last customer, to the consumer, who's very tired, as you have said before. But before your coffee lands on the port, the IRS is asking for that check.
1,000%. Yeah.
And so who forks that money out? Because it's a long journey to get to that port. And then they smack you with $25,000 in a tariff. So it's like everybody's confused about that, and how that is changing, and how that depends on a person that decides what to do every day, depending on what side of the bed
What he
wakes
feels
up
like.
So it's like, people don't understand. We're confused.
I don't understand anything about anything anymore. I have said that more this year than I have said that any year.
Yeah.
But you raised something really important there, which is a perfect kind of setup for our next episode, because we're talking about what are the forces creating volatility for farmers. And tariffs is something that I'd really like to talk to you a bit more about. So join us for the next episode, folks, where we will dive into a whole bunch of forces. But just before I do that, if you are interested in direct trade, when Marianella says like she'll talk to anybody and help anyone, she's for real. Like, I have seen this woman on LinkedIn help anybody that will ask. So she's not just saying it because she's here on the podcast. She is one of the real reals. So yeah.
Thank you.
Go, and you're very welcome. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.